Hello and welcome everyone to this week's edition of Cafe. I'm Michelle Wargo.
And I'm Clarence Reynolds. This week is all about concerts, art, and theater.
All of that and more is coming up on Cafe, but first, let's listen to our featured local musician for the month of July, the Root Shakers. Shake your roots.
Don't have to humble yourself for me. I ain't your judge or your king. Baby, you know I ain't a queen of Sheba. We may not even have our dignity. This could be a powerful thing. Baby, we can choose, you know we ain't no amoeba. Are you ready for the thing called love? Don't come from me and you, it comes from up above. I ain't no porcupine, take off your kid gloves. Are you ready for the thing called love? I ain't no icon carved out of soap, sent here to clean up your reputation. Baby, you know you ain't no Prince Charming. We can live in fear, act out a hope, some kind of peaceful situation. Baby, how can the cry of love be so alarming? Are you ready for the thing called love? Don't come from me and you, it comes from up above. I ain't a porcupine, take off your kid gloves. Are you ready for the thing called love? Ugly ducklings don't turn into swans. Light on down the lane. Whether your sunglasses are off or wrong, you only see the world you make. Are you ready for the thing called love? Don't come from me and you, it comes from up above. I ain't a porcupine, take off your kid gloves. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the thing called love? Don't come from me and you, it comes from up above. I ain't a porcupine, take off your kid gloves. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for love, baby? Ooh, yeah. Are you ready for love, baby?
We are starting off with the musical review classic Ain't Misbehavin', which is wrapping up its month-long run at the Mad Cow Theater this week. It runs through July 5th at the Harriet Theater in downtown Orlando. Performances are each night at 7. The closing day matinee is at 2:30. Go to madcowtheater.com for more information.
Come celebrate Independence Day at one of the biggest annual events in Central Florida on July 3rd in Altamont Springs, Red Hot and Boom. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people attend. There will be free concerts all day long at Cranes Roost Park, followed by a huge fireworks display. Go to redhotandboom.com for more information.
Fireworks at the fountain will once again be at Lake Eola in downtown Orlando this year. The event kicks off at 4 o'clock with vendors and performances all around the park. The Orlando Concert Band will play at the Walt Disney Amphitheater before and during the fireworks to accompany this patriotic night. The fireworks will start just after 9 o'clock. Go to cityoforlando.net for more information.
You know, I recently had a chance to go check out the Art and History Museum's Maitland. Have you been there?
I have, but I want to see what happened when you went.
Oh, well, let's check it out.
Okay.
This beautiful hidden gem is part of the Art and History Museum's Maitland campus, and we're going to walk across the street and meet the executive director, Andrea Bailey Cox. Come on. Hey, Andrea.
Hi, welcome, Michelle.
So tell me, where are we?
We are at the Art and History Museum, Maitland, and this is the Maitland Art Center campus. It's a 1937 artist colony, and as you can see around us, it's one of the best examples of Mayan revival architecture in the U.S.
It is gorgeous. Just moments ago, we actually saw an eagle come down from one of the trees and have a late morning snack, so that was cool.
This is a gorgeous place, especially early in the morning. We get cranes, owls, all sorts of wildlife.
So tell me a little bit more about this campus, because you've got more locations than just this one.
We do. We operate 5 museums on 2 historic campuses. The Maitland Art Center, which we're in right now, is our largest museum. And it is both on both sides of Packwood, and it is filled with education classrooms, artist studios, offices, a wonderful outdoor chapel. And then next door we have the Maitland Historical Museum and the Telephone Museum.
Wow.
Yes, the Maitland Historical Museum is really focused on personal legacies in the area and how that's reflective of the American experience. And the Telephone Museum is something that both children and adults love. Some people think Telephone Museum and they're kind of like, not so sure. And then they go in and they fall in love with it because everything's interactive. So you get to use 1910 technology all the way up to the rotary phones of the 80s and early 90s. And it's wonderful to see kids come in there and they have no idea what to do with the rotary phone.
I know.
So wonderful exhibits there, and then our other campus is right around Lake Lily. Wonderful community festivals happen there, so a lot of people know our museums there because they've come to an art festival or a family festival.
They do the food truck night.
Yes, they do the food truck cafe there. We have a Victorian House Museum there, the Waterhouse Residence Museum, that truly is like taking a step back in time because it's not the type of museum where you have lots of glass or stanchions. You walk right in and it looks like the family just walked out, so it's a really intimate experience.
So tell me a little bit about these little, I see like little tiny houses around this gate.
Yes, so the artist colony had all sorts of studios that really some of the most famous American artists of the time in our classic periods from 1937 and 1959 would come down and they would live and work during the winter.
Oh.
So all of these studios were actually live-work spaces, and it was called the Research Studio at that time. So it was all about experimentation and modernism. Some of the luminaries of the time like Milton Avery and Ralston Crawford came and lived and worked here.
So not only is this a museum, but you also have art classes and things for people to do.
We do. We have an amazing amount of programming across all 5 museums. People often say they have something for everyone. We truly do. From our Carpentry Shop Museum, which is a working antique tool museum where kids actually get to build birdhouses, to our art instruction here, our professional workshops for both amateur and professional artists. We have an artist in residence program here where nationally known artists come and live and work here again as part of our legacy.
Wow. There's so much. So much.
Yes.
So I'm going to go look around if you don't mind.
Yes, I'd love to show you our galleries.
Let's do it. Andrea was just explaining to me that this is a permanent gallery here at the museum.
Yes. In this beautiful room, it is one of the examples of some of the greatest murals by Andre Smith are in this room, and so it's a perfect place to host our permanent exhibition on the Research Studio's history and to showcase some of Andre Smith's work.
And tell me a little bit about this picture over your shoulder.
I love this watercolor. This is a watercolor by Andre Smith, which was a rendering of his vision for the research studio. Now, this was done in the mid-1930s, and the complex was built between 37 and 42. And one of the things that you can see here is that he had such a strong vision, because as you walk around the campus today, you see almost everything is exactly the way that he originally imagined it.
I see where we were standing earlier.
Yes, the beautiful pond, which is one of our best features.
And we were talking a little bit about the courtyard right out this window.
Yes, this is the Annie Russell courtyard. And in many ways, Annie Russell is the reason that we're all standing here today, because Andre Smith became friends with Annie Russell when he worked with her on scenes and all of the background work for some of her theater work in New York.
Okay.
And so he came down, he had this vision to start an artist colony, and he was actually going to Miami to start it. And he stopped in Winter Park to see Annie Russell, and he fell in love with this place specifically, Lake Sibylla. Part of that story is really about how he saw the sunset on Lake Sibylla, which is at this end of our property, and fell in love with it. And anyone who's been here at sunset, it sounds sort of cliche, but there's this amazing pink light that spreads all over our campus.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yes, and so he chose this place and then found funding because he met Mary Curtis Bach through
Who's right
Annie
behind
Russell.
you?
Yes, this is a picture of Mary Curtis Bach, whose family was Curtis Publishing with Ladies Home Journal, and then she married Edward Bach of Bach Tower fame. And she was the patroness of this campus from 1937 to 1959 when our founder passed away.
So really, without her, we wouldn't be standing here today.
That's correct. She was a great lover of the arts.
Wow, so you got a little bit of history here. Why don't we head over to the History Museum?
That would be wonderful.
We are right next door to the Maitland Art Center here at the Maitland Historical Museum. So Andrea, tell me a little bit about what we can find here.
Well, for the guests to the Art and History Museum's Maitland, the Maitland Historical Museum is the great place to start. We are standing right now in our permanent exhibition entitled Legacies. And when they come here, they really get to see wonderful artifacts from local history, as well as learn about the personal stories that made a national impact and helped grow this town.
Okay, very cool.
And some of those personal stories are really reflective of all 5 of our museums. So you get to learn about Maitland's history in general, which is fantastic. There's great ties to Eatonville. And then you also get to learn about the story of the Maitland Art Center, where we just were, learn more about our founder, Andre Smith here. And then you get to learn about our telephone museum, which we talked a little bit about earlier. I think that I didn't mention at that time that the telephone museum is based on the legacy of the Galloway family. The Galloway family started the telephones in this whole Maitland Winter Park area out of the back of their grocery store in 1910. So just with 8 lines, started the Winter Park Telephone Company, which eventually was bought out by Bell South, and on and on and on to the telephone system that we have today.
Wow, I wondered why there was a telephone museum. Now I know.
Yes, very important technological revolution for the area right here in Maitland. We also talk about the Waterhouse family, which is representative of the Waterhouse Residence Museum and the Carpenter Shop Museum.
And then what kind of events can people find here?
We have all sorts of events on both campuses. We have wonderful concerts for music lovers. We have literary readings. We partner a lot with Performing Arts of Maitland.
Oh, wow.
We have changing exhibitions at all of our museums. Hands-on history programming at the Carpenter Shop Museum. You can actually go in, it's a working tool museum.
Wow.
And you can build birdhouses and toolboxes using 19th century tools. So we've got hands-on history programs, art instruction, a little something for everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much for showing us around today.
Thank you for coming.
Wow, that was pretty incredible. I'd like to thank Andrea for taking the time today and showing me around the Art and History Museum's Maitland. Every time you come here, you'll discover something new.
Looks like fun. You had a lot of, you have a new angle on everything.
Yes. Yes, I do. No, I've learned a lot, and it's very cool. And if you've never been there, you really should check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the Central Florida Zoo in Sanford is holding its big celebration on the 4th of July from 10 to 2. It's free with zoo admission, but not only will there be Independence Day festivities and a celebration of the zoo's 40th anniversary, but it's also the birthday of Ja and PJ, both one-horned Indian rhinos. So, of course, there'll be cake. There will also be music, games, and crafts. Go to centralfloridazoo.org for more information.
The children's show The Frog and the Princess will continue this week in the Goldman Theater at the Orlando Shakespeare Festival. The quirky fairy tale is adapted from the Brothers Grimm story. It's fun for the whole family and performances run through July 26th. OrlandoShakes.org is where you'll find more information.
Kids can create their own movie at the Enzian's Kid Fest Young Filmmakers Summer Camp. They can experience the art of filmmaking as they study cinematic techniques, learn about the exciting history of filmmaking, and dive into the production of an independent film. After wrapping the shoot, you can see your work projected on the big screen with your fellow filmmakers, family, and friends. This 2-week summer camp, held July 6th through the 10th and then July 13th through the 17th, with a graduation ceremony held on the 19th, is located at the Enzian and open to children entering grades 5 through 8. No previous experience with filmmaking or equipment is required. Visit enzian.org for more info.
The Orange County Library System's Kids Summer Reading Program continues this week and runs through August 8th. Every hero has a story, and your kids can create their story with the weekly programs. There are special events featuring science, animals, arts, and storytelling, all along with fun prizes at all library locations. Programs are for ages 6 through 12, and more information is at ocls.info.
Wow, you know, July seems like the great time of year to be a kid.
I was going to say, there's plenty to do. The kids should be out and doing things, not playing video games. Well, you can do that too.
Well, I would go to the filmmaking at the Enzian if I were a kid.
I'd write the story of my life at 6.
I bet you that would be interesting. Would it be animated?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. All right. Well, that seems like a good place to end the show. So if you have any events that you'd like to share with us for next month, send an email to cafe@ocfl.net. Until then, I'm Michelle Wargo.
And I'm Clarence Reynolds. Remember to tune in next week and see what new and exciting events are going on in your community. And now, more from our musical act of the month, the Root Shakers.
She's got a face that knows no concept of fear. Even criminals and ne'er-do-wells vanish each time she appears. She's got a reputation as somebody who knows how to get things done. She's got a habit of picking up red-hot pots and pans with her bare hands just for fun. She doesn't care about all of the everyday stresses. She's a bag of nails beneath her colorful dresses. She's tougher than the rest. Much tougher. Tougher than the rest. Much tougher. A little hardship brings out her best. Her best. All right. A fever, I'm at 105 degrees. I got the sweats and the shakes and the pain in my neck, back and in my knees. And any diagnosis will show that psychosis is the cause of my grief. But she's the one who fills me up with all of the strength, hope, and belief. She doesn't care about the things that make us worry. She can run around at speeds and never hurry. She's tougher than the rest. Much tougher. Tougher than the rest. Much tougher. A little hardship brings out her best. Her best. All right.
She drinks her beer slowly. She lights the candles in her room with a strike of a match. The band helps me say it. My guitar helps me play it. Keep the bass low down and stay on the hi-hat. For God's sake, she's tougher than the rest. Tougher than the rest. A little hardship brings out her best, her best.